Good day, students. My name is Dr. Manyaka. I'm your lecturer for TPF3704. Today we are going to talk about assessment submission guide. We're going to do guidelines. When we talk about assessment, each time just think of assignments, but since we are moving to Moodle, ultimately the word is going to be assessment instead of assignment. My contact details, you know them, imanya@unisa.ac.za. My telephone is 0124296521. This is my picture. Took it a while ago. This is me. The video contents of today, we are going to look at the purpose of this video. And we're going to look at the administration. We're going to look at some mistakes that were there that some students are querying about. And then we're going to follow with TPF assessments or assignments, as I said. And then we're going to look specifically into assignment 2. We're going to look at portfolios. Then we conclude. Now, as a start, the video is going to discuss, or this discussion of today has to do with the assessment submission requirements. We're getting closer to our submission, which is the end of September. You'll just pay attention when I show you the due dates. It's not necessarily the last day of September. It's very important for you to pay attention. That's why I took time to make sure that I orientate you. And I'm also going to highlight pitfalls that you should look out for. It's so sad for us in January when students have failed or they've just missed one thing and they failed the module. It looks like we are really, really horrible people, and we are not. Hence, we take an effort to help you through these videos and announcement. And then I'm going to discuss the due dates, as I said. I'm going to remind you what we include or the attachments and the content of assessment or assignment 2, assessment 3, which is portfolio 50, and assessment 4, which is portfolio 51. When it comes to administration, I just want to remind you that it's very important to know where you should send your queries for speedy response. As I speak on daily basis, I find emails where students are asking about their supervision, say, others even command me and say, please come, or they don't even have a please, come and supervise me. Others want to talk about their DSAR form. Maybe the dates have changed. They send to me and me alone. And I must emphasize, we do not have access to teaching practice administration matters systems. What do I mean? I mean the DSAR, the supervision, confirmation letters. As a lecturer, I cannot help you. And I try by all means to post announcement, but I still get these queries. So if it's anything that is content related, what do we mean by content related? If there's something that has to do with your lesson that you don't understand, the online lesson, face-to-face lesson, your case study, or there's an error that you have seen is confusing you, then you speak to me. Or you've gotten 5% and you don't understand why, speak to me. Don't send it to teaching practice. They know nothing about the content of the assignment. But if it's teaching practice administration matters, here I'm talking about the things that I mentioned, the DSAR, I spoke about supervision, I spoke about correcting your DSAR, All those things, they go to teaching practice, to the teaching practice coordinator in your province. Do not send to teach prac. It's fine when you send at the beginning of the year, but as the year goes by, the system gets clogged. Hence, I send you a list of TP coordinators as per province. I even posted on announcements more than one. I posted on a shell where I said it's for our resources and materials to make sure that you are able to talk to the right people. I even went further, that if you don't get a response, if you're not happy with your response or don't get response, I sent emails for the managers for teaching practice. Please write to them and copy me. If you copy me, those who copy me, they know that I then answer and say, colleagues, please help the student. That's the only way I can follow up. And in case where you do not get a response, I'm not going to talk about it. I've already said that you copy me, but also write to the managers. It's there on Moodle. You should have received a DSAR by now and confirmation letter. Just remember that supervision is compulsory. Others are saying, I've done my teaching practice at the beginning of the year. If you talk to me after the effects, I can help you. Please do not ask me to come to your school. Make sure you are placed in a mainstream. Some of you are saying you are placed in a school that is homeschooling or remedial. We want you in a mainstream school, not a special school. Please, if you are not sure, you have a TP coordinator and write to their emails. I emphasize, not teach practice. Teaching practice is 25 days. This is your accreditation requirement. But we have divided 20 days to school visits. That's why your register shows 20 days. But you still have 5 days for case study. So now that we realize it's creating confusion, for our portfolios for next year, we're going to make sure that we ask you to write dates for your case studies so you can see that it makes 25%. Don't keep on 25 days. Don't keep on calling me and saying, but the register is 20 days. It is 20 days because that's when you visit schools, but the 5 days is also counted to your 25 days. If registers for more than one TP module, please treat them as separate modules. Don't say we didn't tell you. When you pick up a teaching practice level 3, TPF3704, it requires 25 days. When you pick up TPF3704, it requires 25 days. Even if I'm not good at maths, 25 plus 25 makes 50. There's no 25 and 25 that makes 25 days. I've never come across it. Critical to note, we do online submissions only. Do not write an email to me. Sometimes I sound as if I'm rude when I say at level 4, I expect you to know that you don't send your assignment directly to a lecturer. We are not allowed to do that. If there's no register in your portfolio 50 of in your portfolio 51 or in assignment 2, you are in trouble. Don't leave out a register. Now we made it easier. We have attached a register in both portfolio 50 and 51. If there's no register in 51, but there's a register in 50, we will mark 50. But for 51, it's a 0. Because we don't prove that, have a proof that you went to school. Remember, when you submit in different portfolios, there's no way your argument that comes only in January or February when you failed is to say that, why didn't you go and check my assignment 2? It's not possible. Each submission is treated separately. If you submit an incorrect assignment, it's 0. Because we are telling you all the time that when you save, make sure you save in a way that you cannot load a wrong assignment. Others even load salary slip or water bills or whatever. It's a 0, but we are not allowed to do a 0 on the system. We do it as 5%. There'll be no extension, no resubmission. Moodle was better because we would be able to lift up a particular student portal and you resubmit. But now we are back to JRouter. There's no resubmission. There's no saying, ma'am, I forgot my register, or I forgot page 13. Can I resubmit? How are we going to marry the two? The system won't allow you. If it does, usually it cancels your original submission and takes the latest one. Can you imagine if the latest one that you were adding, it was page 13, and you forced to resubmit, it accepts it and cancel the whole assignment? How many marks are you going to get? Please think before you do this. Plagiarism has been a very, very sensitive issue. I've even posted documents that talks about plagiarism. We have got students that we felt for them last year. Instead of suspending them, we just requested the relevant department to allow them to fail, because by right you should be suspended from any institution of higher learning. So please do not plagiarize. Plagiarism can be in many ways, where you guys write the same thing, and we have markers that are very experienced. Most of the markers that I have are either working in the district or are principals or deputy principals. They are able to pick up these things. Do not buy a portfolio, because you'll find yourself in trouble. Include all attachments and make sure you use 2022 templates. Some of you say that you took a template from Telegram. Telegram is not an official UNISA platform. So I would not even listen to you when you tell me about Telegram. Save your assignment, please. Use the student name. And I gave an example, say TPF3704 assignment 50. Just bear this in mind all the time, because if you don't do this, you're going to find that for portal 50, you still submitted assignment 50. For portal 51 is still assignment 50. The other one, you're going to get 0, because it means you haven't submitted. I'm going to post this presentation online. Please, please do the right thing. I won't waste time on the errata, when it's main is errata. We are aware of the mistakes that are in both assessments 50 and 51. Don't worry. For instance, mathematics page 50, page 18, where you find that the instruction at the beginning of your portfolio talks about one topic, but the template about another. Use the topic on the template. But even if you chose to use the one at the beginning, we are aware of these mistakes. It's part of the memo. When you are going to discuss with memos, you won't be disadvantaged in any form. Our interest is you. We would never disadvantage you in anything that has not been created by you. And then please note that you'll not be penalized. That's what I said. But if you are not yet done, please use the topic on the template just for consistency. Make sure you refer back to the table of the lesson you need to plan. During the weeks that I spent in grade R, there was, I've quoted from the assignment 50, portfolio 50, assignment 3. There's instruction. Make sure you refer back to the table of lessons you need to plan. During the week spent in grade R, you'll be required to plan and present 4 lessons. The 4 was a mistake. If you look there, you've got 5 lessons in school and you've got 1 as a case study. So ignore that and just check on the table. You'll see that those lessons are 5. And the 6th one is a case study. It's 3 face-to-face, I'll explain later, and 1 online and 1 a case study. Here are your assessments, your assignments. Assessment 1 is for admission purposes. Even if you have submitted an incomplete assignment, you get 5%, it doesn't have a school stamp, or it lacks some information, you have gained admission just for submitting, because it doesn't count for your year mark or for your final mark. It doesn't. It was extended to the 15th of August and now it's closed. If you haven't submitted, it means you have not gained admission to TPF 3704, period. Others are showing me an announcement on the 14th that I said the 15th is the last day, but it's closed. But they sent it today on the 16th. Of course, it was closed on the 15th. Others are trying to resubmit. That's why it's kicking them out. So just know that this is closed, it was extended, and this is not the norm. It doesn't mean that will extend others. Assessment 2 is tutorial 105. You keep on asking which one is assessment 2 or assignment 2. Assignment 2 is in tutorial 105 on Moodle announcement, and I realized I loaded a Microsoft Word by mistake. You can convert it, but this morning I also loaded a PDF. Then you do your attachments, then you send. If it's you have used a Word version, just convert it. The due date is the 29th September 2022. The system that we use now, because when we did the assessment planning for due dates, we were using the Moodle platform. It gives limits per day, so that on the day when you are trying to load, it's not too many UNISA students that are loading. So it could only allow us for the 29th of September. If you fail to load assessment 2 on the 29th of September, thinking you're going to do it after portfolio 50 and 51, sorry, dear, you won't have your mark. Assessment 3, which is tutorial 103, your portfolio 50 is due on the 30th September. I wrote the time on purpose at 8 p.m. Usually we know if its closing date is 12 o'clock. It's not, it's at 8. And assessment 4, which is portfolio 51 under tutorial 104, is on the 30th September as well at 8 p.m. They all share 50% each for your year mark. Don't think all in all is going to be 120. The system is able to work the 50 and 50 to 80% and the year mark to 20%. Don't worry about that. Tutorial 102 has your teaching practice matters. Like you, it's open for the whole year. It doesn't have a due date because it's an information tutorial where you'll get your teaching practice coordinators details. As I say, write to their emails directly. And if you are not happy, then write to their managers and also copy me. Assessment 2, it accounts for 20% of the year mark. You might think 20% is little, but if you have lost 20%, maybe because of something or something that cannot get you penalized, like a register, maybe a supervisor assessment report, this will help you to pass. It's found in tutorial 102. I'm sorry, it means it is found in tutorial 105. I'll correct that. It is loaded under Moodle announcements and under resources and materials because we were moved from Moodle where we had assessment shells. Assignment or assessment 2 needs a principal's report with signatures. Where it needs a stamp, please get it stamped. And then a mentor report, attended register of student teacher at school, confirmation of teaching practice placement, supervisor report. All the number 4 and number 4, the confirmation, that's part of the teaching practice functions. They must give you a confirmation letter. And supervisor report is the assessment form that you are given after being supervised. I expected that you should ask for that report. If you don't have a school stamp, unfortunately, it's a 0. It means you didn't go to school. And each attachment under assessment 2 is 20 marks. You find a person only having submitted a principal's report and a mentor report, they get 40%. They say, I don't understand, I worked very hard. If the word work very hard was a person, it will be such an abused person. Everybody, I worked very hard, I don't understand why I got 40%. But you've got only 2 attachments. Each attachment has got 20 marks. I hope it's clear. And then portfolios, both assessment 3, tutorial, which is tutorial 103. Just remember, the tutorial 103 has your portfolio 50. Assessment 4, which is portfolio 51, is inside your tutorial 105. All of them have 5 lessons, which include an online lesson. I'm trying to be slow to make sure that we agree. If you find yourself not having 5 lessons, 4 lessons that are ordinary, and the last one being an online, then a case study, then we've got a problem. And then assessment 3 or your portfolio 50 will have 1 week grade R and 1 week grade 1 lessons that were prepared and presented in those classes. And they even have a teacher evaluation form. By mistake, we did not include a place for the signature, but please let the teacher sign, the evaluator, the mentor or the person who evaluated you sign at the end of the page. If they fail, but somewhere the evaluation forms must be signed. Otherwise, we do not know. And do not fill it in and ask them to sign. You only fill in where you are required to reflect about your lesson. Because if you fill it yourself, it means you have evaluated yourself. You can't be the referee and the player. Assignment 4 is 1 week in grade 2 and 1 week in grade 3. The lessons are there on the template. Type of lessons, we have got normal, face-to-face, it's 4 lessons. And then we have got an online lesson, which is 1. And we have got a case study, which is 1. The online lesson, we spoke about synchronous and asynchronous lessons. I've explained them at the beginning. If you want to make your life easier, just remember that it's a lesson that is on a learning management platform, meaning that it's where there is no video, like your Google Classroom. We have planned lessons where you were asked to schedule to participate. You have been shown how Google Classroom works. If you forgot, go back. And the case studies as well. Let's talk also of the video. Some of you are having a challenge with using Microsoft Teams because our institution has not granted students Microsoft Teams. Others are doing it and even inviting me. I don't know how they get them to Microsoft Teams. But if you can't do that, you can do anything that has a video. You can do a WhatsApp video. But if it's a WhatsApp video and we ask that you show a lesson where you have used a video, I must see that video on WhatsApp to show that you used a video. Because if it doesn't, it's only you've just created a group for people. That's a learning management system. It's not a video-based lesson. I hope I'm clear. And then the case study, it's easy. You just answer the questions. And in DHET languages, so that you understand why we take it serious when you do a case study, we are allowed to do learning in practice, which is going to school, and learning from practice, which is learning from other practices by watching maybe a video of someone presenting and you analyze or critique it or answer questions in relation to what you have learned from your theory lesson. So it is allowed. That's why you've got a week where you're doing a case study. Take it serious because it's just as important as going to the school. The key points for your portfolio. Please listen to the video link. There's a video link where we invited other lecturers. I remember there was Dr. Khabo, Dr. Mushaba, even Dr. Pala. It was so disappointing because some of you didn't come, but it was before I knew about the scheduler. When we started to do the scheduler, the attendance was much, much better. So for each, either it's Microsoft Teams or any other lesson that we do, we always convert it into a link. and we post it. Please listen to the videos so that you can be able to know what do they mean when they say I'm supposed to write outcomes. Because in that video, we're explaining very clearly that an outcome cannot be general, cannot be to understand, it cannot be to know, because we cannot measure it. It must be smart. Listen to the video on online lessons as well. Read posted materials on plagiarism and comply. I know when people are caught for plagiarism, they're going to say, ma'am, you didn't tell us. Others are telling me that I should have told them at the beginning of the year that teaching practice where the school visit are 20, because they've done 5 or 15 or 10. You must remember that when you enrolled into UNISA, you understood that you are enrolling for an open distance learning, meaning that our main communication is online. It's a blended mode. There is somewhere where we try to make sure that we bring in, we cater for people that we know they don't get online easily. For instance, they send you materials for your portfolios, and while I'm still at it, they are not sent by me. Don't say to me, don't say, I did not complete because I only received assignment 50. That's a dispatch function. Actually, they had told us that students have to print their own material. So if they send you one, you are still fortunate. But just know that we are blended. And now most of the things, most of our communication is online. If you don't go online, you're going to miss a lot of information. Some of you want it to be like a contact class, and which is a problem. You have enrolled that you are going to do open distance learning. Let me put it in a simple language. You are going to do correspondence. But what you demand from us as lecturers is what will be demanded in a classroom situation, in a contact university. We are not the same. We are trying our best with the number of students that we have. But if you expect me to attend to your email for little bits and pieces of things that you should have gotten on announcements, you are not being fair on me. I cannot start to begin, or I cannot start or begin to explain the many responsibilities that we have, but we are picking you as our customers, as our students, to be our priority. But please do not expect more than what we can give. We have a lot of students. For TPF3704, I've got 4,000 plus students. Complete the register for all assignments. I'm emphasizing this because people plead ignorance. And you know that even if you go to court about an issue, you cannot go there and tell the court that, no, I did not know. As long as it's a law and it's out there, they expect you to know. If there's no register where required, you'll get a 0. And we are not telling stories. There are some of you that are repeating. Please share with your peers on your telegrams to show that, to tell them we won't be watching because it's not a UNISA platform, but just warn them that if you don't have a register, you fail. And it's not because we want you to fail. If it were according to me, all the 4,000 students should pass, because we want you to contribute to your family. We want you to participate in the countries, wherever you are, whatever country you are in the country's economy. We don't want you to fail, but we also want compliance. Our degree has been picked now for audit. It means next year they can pick any portfolio. They look at it for compliance. If 2 or 3 do not comply, they might take the accreditation. Do you want to be responsible for all the students that are graduating in UNISA for B.Ed foundation phase or for B.Ed for intermediate to be disadvantaged when their degree is downgraded or regarded as not accredited? It means they've wasted their money and time for nothing. So be a responsible citizen and make sure that you do the right things. When they audit, we are going to be proud to say we have produced professional and quality teachers. You must submit your workbook 50 and 51 online on My UNISA. There are others that who are not even aware that we moved from Moodle. I emphasize with the register in both assignments. And make sure you read requirements for each portfolio before you attempt completing your work. When it comes to online lessons, I get a lot of questions. That shows me that people have not engaged with their study material or their portfolios. You'll find one answer asking, "Ma'am, what do I attach?" Now, carefully read instruction for each online lesson. You are welcome to use your friends, peers, family, and members of the and family members and teachers where you are not able to use lesson parents. Learners' parents in Google Classroom or video-based lessons. What I mean is that there are other schools that are really advanced in the sense that even the grade R parents have got a WhatsApp group, you send homeworks. By the way, you can use that as your learning management system to send activities rather than using Google Classroom. But if you do not have the parents or that can be used, remember we are talking about young children. We don't expect them to have phones, smartphones. Well, I mean an average mainstream or public school. So you are welcome to invite your friends, which you would use as your learners, but your lesson should still be that grade 1 or grade R lesson. And then in that lesson, then you are able to teach them at that level. It's a normal lesson. When you check prior knowledge in your introduction, you pretend they are young children. You ask them, if you are asking up or you are dealing with 3Ds, you ask them the shapes that they play with as if they are young children. But on the right-hand side, I'm talking about instruction. Like, let's look at this instruction. It says, send a Microsoft team invite to attendees indicating date and time of the session or meeting. I took this at the middle. It's not the whole lesson. I'm saying you are given instruction. Let's say they've given you that this is the subject and you need to teach it on Microsoft Teams. There are instructions that goes with that lesson. I said you can use your peers as mock learners should you fail to use your grade learners. Ne? Now it shows here you are going to show the grade, show the topic and the learning outcomes. More importantly, paste a screenshot of your invite below. We use different things to, there's a snip and sketch. They've got different names, but, or you do a screenshot like you do on your phone. So it means here, I expect where you have pasted to see the names of the people that were invited. If this video was on, I'm doing it on Microsoft Teams, but if I had invited you, it will show the attendees there. It means when I do my screenshot, I must make sure it shows where there are heads of people. I can see that there are names of people that were invited for this meeting. That's what it means. You cannot just have a blank screenshot of Microsoft Teams and expect that you are going to get marks, because I don't see the attendees as per instruction. I hope I'm clear. Others will have different instructions. Maybe if it's a Google Classroom, they might want you to take a screenshot of the activities that you have posted. Maybe another one might want you to show a screenshot where there were comments. Then you will encourage your peers to make comments so that you can be able to comply. In conclusion, I'm going to say, please take responsibility for your studies. You have done level 1, you have done level 2, you have done level 3. When I talk to a level 4 student, I'm already talking to my colleague. I hope you understand. You are at the brink of being a professional teacher. And I expect you to have acquired some knowledge about the systems at UNISA. So sometimes it looks like I'm rude when I'm saying, I expect you at this level to know this and this and that, to know that DSAR forms do not go to lecturers, or lecturers have no access to teaching practice management systems. I'm not being rude. It's because of what I expect. I also post announcements and say it is your responsibility. For instance, what does it mean taking responsibility on supervision? If nobody has contacted you and you have that number on your confirmation letter, call the supervisor to find out when will they be coming. Especially because sometimes you can even change the date for your teaching practice. So take that responsibility to tell the supervisor, I've changed dates. I don't know if teaching practice have sent you an updated list. In the same way, if you find that when you call that supervisor's phone doesn't go through, what do? You write to the teaching practice coordinator in your province, if it's KZN, the KZN1, if it's Western Cape, if it's Eastern Cape, you write to that person. You give them 2 days or so. Our turnaround time is 48 hours. If those teaching practice coordinators don't respond, I've posted the emails for their managers. Dr. Tobejane Mapola, I've got Dr. Creek, I think Mr. Masangu, Miss Mpukwe. So you can copy them and also copy me. So that when you say, I didn't get a supervisor, ma'am, they are not responding, I go back, I trace, and I go back to them. Colleagues, please assist the students as soon as possible. I'm not pushing away my responsibility. I'm teaching you to take the responsibility to get yourself supervised. You must worry. Take responsibility in other matters as well, starting with reading your materials, starting with visiting my UNISA. But if it's something that is really pinching you or you don't get an understanding, there's no way I cannot address you. I will address you. Teaching practice is an accreditation requirement. It really belittles the degree when you write to me and say, I don't understand why I should fail through a minor thing like not including a register, or a minor thing of doing 2 teaching practice modules at the same time. You do not meet the accreditation requirement. We want you to be a teacher who has been accredited according to the requirements of Department of Higher Education and Training. Otherwise, you won't get your degree. It doesn't help when you say, I worked very hard and I cannot fail because you, ma'am, is not me. It's a requirement. As I said, be a good citizen and make sure you do not let your colleagues down or your fellow students down by making them their degree null and void, because UNISA has been found to flounder all the rules of accreditation. Remember, there's no supplementary. After we had allowed students to supplement in 2021, we got so many problems that we had to go back to the policy. The policy says there's no supplementary exam or aggregate for all portfolio-based modules, and for all the modules that are research-based. So we are back to the drawing board. It's a once-off thing. If you submit and pass, well done. If you submit and fail, see you in 2023. We are not proud of it. We want all of you to pass. Also, it puts a good name for us to say that we've been doing something. Make sure you submit as early as possible. I'm really worried. I said we have over 4,000 students. Submission is not even 1,000 as we speak. What is the disadvantage of this? You are all going to try to submit at the same time, and the system is going to clock. And once it clocks, there's nothing we can do. Once it clocks, there's nothing we can do. Because if you say because of systems issues, it's no longer a system issues, it's a student issues who waited for the last minute. I hope I'm clear. Because if you say it's a system issues, we go to ICT, we go to assignment section, they are able to check and they come to tell us that the system had no issues. Please, please don't make that mistake. Avoid plagiarism and trust in your own ability. I believe you can make this. You have come this far. So trust yourself and make sure you submit your own work. I want to encourage you with a quote from Abigail Adams, where it is said, open quote, learning is not attained by chance. It must be sought for with ardor and diligence. Close quote. It means with passion, with all what you have. If you take your studies for granted and just want to submit for the sake of submitting, the results will also show that you submitted for the sake of submitting. They will show exactly your attitude towards your studies.